where do you feel your support is right now in the conference?
I feel my support's very strong. They elected me to be Speaker, so I made a decision. I thought it was best to keep the government open.
Speaker McCarthy said he will survive this. Should he be that confident?
Well, he's probably right. Kevin McCarthy's true coalition partner on all things of substance has been the Democrats.
Yes, we have to tell you about this story. It's worth it. Drama unfolded on Capitol Hill today between and around those two guys. After the second one, that was Florida far right, far MAGA, Congressman Matt Gaetz threatened to try to unseat Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy. For his part, Gaetz announced his intentions 24 hours after McCarthy worked with Democrats to keep the government functioning by passing a continuing resolution. What it did was narrowly avoid a government shutdown on Saturday night. It puts another 45 days on the calendar to try to negotiate something more lasting for government funding. It is for the crime, though, of doing that and of working with Democrats to keep the government functioning, to avert a shutdown, that Gaetz wants to fire McCarthy. Today, Gaetz took to the House floor to try to rally support for the idea and to criticize and attack McCarthy. He stopped short of calling for this thing that McCarthy gave him as a tool. It's called a motion to vacate, leaving open the possibility, though, that it could happen anyway this week. And while Matt Gaetz faces long odds in the unseating of McCarthy in a volatile, all MAGA all the time caucus, nothing is ever out of the question. It is a testament to McCarthy's weakness as a speaker that we're even having this conversation. It is the kind of chaotic dysfunction that is much less like governing and much more like reality TV from being produced by someone down in Mar-a-Lago. Joining our conversation, former Congressman from Florida, MSNBC political analyst David Jolly. Claire is, of course, still with us. Claire, I don't know how much I care about the current state of affairs, but I care what you think they are.
Yeah, well, so this is kind of fun in a way.
Right.
Let's talk about where we are. First, the big irony is that Matt Gaetz and the crazy caucus has handed more power to the Democratic Party than they ever would have had in the House of Representatives. On a silver platter, they walked over to Hakeem Jeffries and they said, Speaker Jeffries, we're going to give you some real power as the minority. The second thing that's interesting about this is that if Gaetz goes ahead and files the motion to vacate, which you've got to believe he's gonna, because he said he was gonna, then what does McCarthy want? McCarthy wants to hold on to the speakership, but with not being as weakened as he might be. So how does he do that? His goal is to hold on to the speakership with as few Democratic votes as possible, or at least public Democratic votes. So he will be maneuvering to try to get people to vote present or to be absent. So it doesn't look like he is being retained in the speaker's role by the Democrats. Now, what does Hakeem Jeffries want here? This is a real test for Jeffries and his leadership. Very smart so far. He is being very quiet, and all former Speaker Pelosi has said is follow the leader. But he has the ability to get some real stuff here for the policy goals the Democrats care about. And it's important that he make this a policy goal, because he can't fall into the trap that this is a game for power. It has to be something that he can deliver for the American people that is important, like aid to Ukraine, or a vote on gun safety, or some other vote that would reflect the values of the Democratic Party. So this is going to be very interesting because we've never had this happen in history. There has never been a speaker that has been removed from office in this manner. And I don't think it's going to happen now. But how this goes down is going to be really important for what this looks like in 45 days.
That's such helpful and important context on the strategic level. I want to go back to the Gaetz of it all with you, David Jolly, because I don't want this to feel or sound more strategic than it is. He was asked by my colleague, Ali Vitale, today if he was talking to Trump, and he said, I have. This is part of the arsonist wing of the Republican Party. And you know, David Jolly, you sat here for, I think, all 15 of the McCarthy votes. When he said they elected me speaker, yeah, on round 15 they did. I mean, this is just like watching sort of the bad news bears against the Keystone Cops. It's impossible to know who you should root for.
Yeah, Nicolle, and as I very publicly said then, I didn't think McCarthy could secure the votes to be speaker. My wife pointed out, maybe you weren't wrong, you were just early, because I think we're going to face a new test for Kevin McCarthy here. And the only thing that actually is preventing Gaetz from having sufficient votes right now, I think, is what is emerging as what I call the what then caucus. Even among Gaetz's hardline compatriots who are part of the arsonist caucus, the reality is there's no plan for after they vacate the chair, right? Matt Gaetz, he might be able to blow up the House, but he can't put it back together. Neither can his hardline Freedom Caucus members. So who within the Republican caucus would replace McCarthy? The answer is nobody. And maybe nobody wants the job, which then goes to this question for Democrats. And look, Claire's exactly right in her analysis. McCarthy wants the help of Democrats without it looking like he's working with Democrats. And I think we have to kind of stop whitewashing McCarthy's reputation here a little bit. He did not choose to work with Democrats. In fact, he tried not to work with Democrats. On the debt deal and on the CR, he pushed them aside and said, we're going to do it our way. It was only when his way didn't work, when his speakership failed, when his talents failed, that Democrats chose to govern. On the vote to keep the government open, it was 200 plus Democrats that voted to keep it open and only about 120 Republicans. It was similar on the debt deal. It was Democrats that chose to govern responsibly, not Kevin McCarthy, which is why I have a very hardline stance on this notion of Democrats working with McCarthy to help save his speakership. Don't do it. It's a disaster. Don't trust Kevin McCarthy. There is zero reason, none, nada, nothing, no reason for Hakeem Jeffries to bail out Kevin McCarthy in this moment.
So what do you think happens next then, David Jelly? You think he's gone and there's somebody new there, or what do you think happens?
Yeah, so two reasons why you don't work with Kevin McCarthy. One, on substance. He has been the vessel for Donald Trump's authoritarianism for 6 years. He refused to cooperate with the J6 committee. He launched an impeachment of Joe Biden. He has empowered Jim Jordan and James Comer. On policy, he is as hard right as they come on immigration and taxes and health care and choice. He is not a kinder, gentler Republican. He's simply not. So on substance, you get nothing by working with Kevin McCarthy. But on process, if Democrats allow Republicans to vacate the chair, they don't bail out Kevin McCarthy. Without a speaker, every roll call vote to try to get a speaker that goes on 15, 20, 30, 40, the currency of Democrats becomes greater and greater and greater. And who knows, maybe you pull over a couple of those Main Street Republicans. You're talking about 3 or 4 votes. But the point is, don't bail out Kevin McCarthy. You can't trust him. He's wrong on policy. He's trying to defeat Joe Biden. He's not your ally. Let him go. It's the Republicans that created this moment. Make them own it. See what happens.